got a problem. We 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 got a problem. Yeah, it's probably you. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. We got a problem.
Yo, what's poppin', people? Cobra Star Green back with you at another video. Your first time finding my channel, you love ending explain movie reviews, spoiler reviews, stuff like that. You guys definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, the viewer really does help. But yes, today we are gonna be reviewing the new Eternals film. This will be a straight spoiler review, as you guys see from the scroll. We're doing an ending explain and also talking about the post-credit scene, also in this video. But we're gonna talk about this one because this movie was on the fence. People were like, "This one's bad. This one's good." Now, what are we weighing on this? Now, before going into the movie, I had read some reviews. I usually don't do that, but I read some reviews, and people were saying, "Oh my God, this Eternals film, it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie at all." And I would say really quickly, it does. I don't know where they're getting that from. Like, this definitely feels like a Marvel film. And you were saying something.
Hot take, man. Shang-Chi feels less like a Marvel film than this does.
Right.
You know, like this feels like a Marvel film, guys.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know exactly where people are getting at that this does not feel like a Marvel film. Like, I definitely seen the Marvel formula in this film, especially that goddamn third act. I definitely seen it in the third act. But let's go ahead and talk about something. So when it comes to I wanna do this before I get really deep into this. But this film was directed by
Chloe Zhao. She has directed Nomadland.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that.
She's directed some Mandalorian episodes actually too.
Oh wow.
I think the one where I think it's where they invade or whatever. But no, she's done some good episodes.
Yeah, but as you said earlier, she was the one that directed Nomadland.
I'll see you again.
Which for not a big budgeted film was really good. So Marvel was like, all right, this is what you can do with this low budget film. Well, what happens when we give you the whole entire bucket and we throw all the money at you? What can you do with that then?
It feels like Chloe and Marvel Studios really got in the way of each other to make a true masterpiece. It feels like there's a true masterpiece in here somewhere.
And I would say we're gonna break this down piece by piece. First thing I'm gonna talk about is the characters here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna talk about these characters. Now, we are introduced to, what was it, like 10 characters?
10 characters, yes.
10 characters right here, right? And I think the movie did a very poor job at, like, going through everybody, having them all have character moments, backstory and stuff like that. We're pretty much just introduced to these characters, and then that's it. They just going off. Some of the romances you see in here seem completely forced, especially towards the end of the film. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I just don't think there is no character development, I think, here with, I would say, any of these characters, you know, aside from maybe one. And I'll probably go on the one character that I think that might got a little bit of character development aside from everybody else. But go ahead. I know you're gonna say something.
I mean, there's some characters that are certainly likable. There's some characters who have some sort of chemistry in terms of, like, you know, not romance, but you know, you feel like they're a family at times.
Yeah.
But it just feels like we're like brought into this family, and it feels like we're missing something that they already have.
Yeah.
And we feel disconnected somewhere.
Like, I don't know if it's like we missed some type of prequel or something, like a book we're supposed to read before we've seen the movie. I don't know if we missed something here, but literally, like, this is spoiler review. There is a character that dies at the beginning of the film, right? She dies pretty early on, I would say. Let me get her name right. Ajax. So Ajax dies at pretty much the beginning of the film, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I supposed to feel something here that she died? I'm like, I don't really know this character. I don't really feel anything for her. You know, when she died, I'm like, okay, I don't really care. You know?
See, here's the thing that kind of annoyed me about that is that she dies. We feel nothing as the audience, or a majority of us probably really do. But as we're watching the film and they meet other characters throughout and they give that bad news to each character, Gilgamesh, Kingo, they have a moment of, like, grief of, like, a loved one died. But we can't feel that with them because we don't know this character as well as they do.
Yeah, I'm like...
So it feels like a pattern that it just feels repetitive by that point.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there, like, I really, like, was sitting there, like, yo, am I supposed to feel something here? Like, I know she just died, but I'm like, I don't really know this character that well. You know?
It was not developed properly.
Yeah,
enough.
oh, let me get on the beginning of the movie. Oh, thank you for making me not forget.
First act.
Yeah, let's talk about the first act, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Worst thing about this movie is all the first act.
yeah, I was not a fan of how the movie started out. The movie pretty much starts out with them going from the present to the past, and it just don't work at all.
And
it don't work.
Not only was it like present past, but it wasn't like one set time in the past. It was like this time in the past, and like I kind of get it. They've lived a long time. They're gonna show some moments in time, but it just, I don't know how to explain it. It just feels scattered. And I just kept on thinking to myself, can we just stay and learn about these characters in the present?
Right.
Or in the past, keep one or the other.
Yeah, I'm like, man, like, can we sit here, like you said, can we learn about these characters? But, like, no, we don't get no time to learn about them. Because literally, like, they're together, they break apart, you know, they all go do a separate thing, and then they're back together. You know what I'm saying?
It feels like this movie tells more than it shows.
Right.
It does show. I will give it credit. There's some emotion that is shown. There's some things that they're like, this is why we love or at least some of the characters love the humans and stuff like that. But it just doesn't feel like they show enough. It feels like they tell us more than they show us.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like, I really want, especially there's some characters here that I really enjoyed, but I don't know too much about them. You know, like, man, I'm gonna let's go ahead and get into some characters that I'm gonna at least get into characters that I enjoyed. And one of them I think was my favorite character in the movie. What's the name? How you say his name, man? I think Kingo.
Yes.
Kingo. Yeah. Kingo. Played by what's his name?
I don't know how to say his name.
I'll
probably butcher it. Kumal.
We all know who he is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he's the guy that's on the far left. I think he had the best character performance in the movie. Like, when it comes to a character that I was the most invested into, a character that I liked the most, I would say his was.
I wouldn't say you're wrong for that or anything, because Kingo's a great character in terms of fan favorite and stuff like that. I wasn't as invested with that character, but I did like some decisions they made later on with that character. Yeah. I did feel like there was some unique turns with that character. But I feel like, for me, I was more invested with Icarus as a character overall. Because Icarus felt like the most, not likable character, not more charismatic, but compelling as a story to me.
So you're talking about...
Richard Madden.
Pretty much goddamn Superman in the film. Yeah. Pretty much Superman.
I felt his story was the most compelling out of all the characters.
That's fair.
Not the most likable, not the most charismatic, because he had... I think it was purposeful, because they're all kind of like... Some of them, you know, him mostly out of... there's more bland in personality, because he's so disconnected from humans in comparison to all the other Eternals, or a majority of them.
Yeah, so if you guys don't exactly know who he is, he pretty much is goddamn Superman, pretty much. Pretty much is Superman. He can fly, shoot layers out of his eyeball. He's Superman, all right? And he doesn't really, like, he believes, well, I mean, he's right at this aspect, but that he's better than humans, and he doesn't really, like, be like, look, there's no point in saving this planet, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much his character.
It's interesting to me, because it's delivered way differently than a worse writer would deliver it. I feel like he's not evil, you know what I mean? But he's not good.
He has his motivations.
This is his purpose.
Yeah,
you know?
that's his
purpose.
Like,
this is the one purpose that he's been for years and years and years, like a millennia, centuries, and then like. By the end of the movie, or like by the time that the emergence is supposed to happen, it's like Ajax is like someone who built him up to this point. It's just like, nah, disconnect. I'm attached to these humans, but he's not.
Yeah.
And you set him up for this. So I felt like this was a very compelling arc for this character.
Yeah, I liked his character.
I did like him a lot.
Now
by the end, and I felt sympathy and empathy, because I felt like by the very, very end, he felt like
Like he had no purpose of being here
like,
anymore.
I have no purpose.
Yeah, I have zero purpose
I
anymore.
basically have no family by the end of this. There's
Yeah.
no meaning.
And I would say like,
oh my God, like his death, man.
yeah, like I was gonna get into that. Like this movie definitely, and that's what I'll applaud the movie on. This movie definitely takes some risk. There's a lot of characters that do not make it to make it out the film, and I did not see that coming. You know, especially there's one character I really liked, and they killed him off. I'll talk about him in just a second. But yeah, whenever what's his name dies, Icarus dies at the end. I was feeling sad, but I was like, should I feel sad here? You know, like
it's not that.
Like it's weird.
It's not that I felt sad in that moment, but when I reflect on it more, like when I'm doing this review, it feels more sad as time goes by because I'm like, damn, like that was his whole,
like I would say like
purpose, and it feels like his life was almost meaningless in a way, and he never really truly connected in the right way. And it's kind of sad on reflection. But as you're watching it in the movie, it's like, yeah, I kind of understand why you're doing this, but you don't really. It's not as impactful in the moment, but as I reflect on it, it's more impactful. I think this is a movie that makes you think a little bit more.
Yeah, I think his character is really done well, though.
Sure, yeah.
Now I want to get into another character now. Really, really quick, because there's a lot of characters, so we ain't got to go through all of them just immediately. Really quick, I want to talk about something really quick.
Sure, yeah.
The visuals in this film, just really quickly, were really great. I really felt like, especially when you get to see like these celestials, and you finally, and I've been waiting on a movie to finally just get into the celestials just a little bit. And this movie does it a lot more than I thought I was gonna do it. I really like the celestials in this film. You know, we finally hear them talk. You know, we finally see how big they really are. So, especially towards the end of the film when we see that new one about to be getting born.
Oh, dude.
That shot, it's funny because the director, Chloe knew she was onto something. Because she kept going to she kept going back to that shot with the celestial frozen and stuff like that. I like, she knows what she's doing there.
Yeah, that's one thing we could say, whether or not you like or dislike this movie. This film, I have grievances we'll get into with some of the CGI, but overall, most of this is shot really well. Most of the CGI feels grand and real.
I think like the best shot was like that celestial at the end, especially like when you see like his hand coming up and then like his head pops up. It's like, oh my god! Like I would think like for that part alone, you have to see it on a big screen.
Yeah,
like,
this does feel like something
you have to see
one
on
time
IMAX.
on IMAX.
Yeah, you gotta see this on IMAX. Yeah. But let's get into something else really quick. I want to get into a couple more of the characters. There's a lot of characters we got to get through. So we ain't gonna be able to get through. We just go like really quickly on them.
Sure.
And we'll not spend too much time on them. But how did you feel about who's like the scientist in the film? What's his name? His name was Brandon T. Henry in real life, but I can't remember. I think it's like Fathos or something like that.
Fastos.
Fastos. There we go.
I could be saying that wrong, but
we probably
Fastos,
are.
I think.
But
yeah.
I
think
he was my second favorite character. He was my second favorite.
Probably third for me, but no, he's really good.
I really like, especially towards the end, and you get more of his character arc.
Yes.
I'm like, yes, I like him. I don't know. Yeah, I think I like him second favorite. He's my second favorite character in the film.
I did like that scene where, Hiroshima happens and he's just like in grief because he's like, well, like everything I've invented led to this, and all this is destruction and stuff like that. And yeah, that felt very real in the moment. And I like that they set his motivations proper. He has a family, he has a husband, he has a kid.
Yeah, and we meet them later on.
Like it really does feel like, and he doesn't feel like as powerful as someone like Icarus, but like as very smart and very particular with the team. He is an essential part of the team, and he can hold down someone like Icarus if it needed to happen.
Now, I want to talk about a character I understood the most with their motivation.
Yeah.
And it was the kid in the film. What was her name?
Sprite.
Yeah, that was her name. I really felt for her the most in this film. Because towards the end, she kind of does like a little dark turn, and she's on the side of, let's let this Eternal live and kill all the humans. And you kind of get why she's like that because of the fact that she don't really fit in, you know. She's messed up. She can't age, you know what I'm saying? So she can look like this for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
So I understood her motivation.
I do have some critiques of how it was delivered a little bit in terms of execution, but the overall grander story of like why her motivations are what they are makes sense. It just felt a little bit on the nose when she's just like explaining. Like, here are my motivations, and this is why I want the emergence to happen. It's like, oh, I think we could have just kind of picked that up over time, but you know, otherwise, a good character.
Yeah, I think she did really well.
Yeah, I
had
didn't
no
have very
complaints with her
much
character.
problems otherwise. Besides some of the dialogue choices, felt very much like a kind of like a small Loki or whatever. Just
That's a good comparison.
There is some
Loki.
powers or whatever that's very Loki-ish or whatever. But yeah.
Let's see, when she can like turn to different people and be somebody else.
And again, it never really feels like that's the thing. These villains, quote unquote, in this movie, like even the deviants, they're not really villains, or they're not really heroes, but they're not really villains. It always feels like every person has their own set motivations, and there's a particular reason why they've been bred up for a specific calling and stuff like that, are nurtured and natured and stuff like that. There seems to be very specific reasons why they had the motivations they do. It never feels like, oh, I'm just a villain for the sake of being a villain.
Right. Now, really, a character, like, we're already at 16 minutes.
Yes.
Another character I want to talk about really quick, Angelina Jolie. I think she did great in the film. Like,
yes,
her character and how she's having to fight throughout she's having to fight like her own self demons at the same time.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that part of the film, like especially with her character.
Yeah.
I really think they did that well.
Amnesia or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like a very particular disease. Yes, cool action by her too.
She has like some of the best fighting choreographed.
I really liked her. She was likable. I wasn't in love with the character or anything, but I did like the character. I thought there could have been a couple of story things here that they could have done more with.
I was throughout the film being like, man, dude, this girl's little illness is getting in the way. You know, like they're fighting deviants, and out of nowhere she going through her little mental problems, and she's fighting the Eternals too. I'm just kind of like, every time with this, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and the person taking care of her, Gilgamesh.
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about him next, but
rest in peace.
Yeah, well, go ahead, him where I'm looking for him.
Homie died. Gilgamesh was protecting Athena and died by a deviant, which that it sucks because that's the thing about this movie I like too, because it never feels like a typical MCU film where it felt like things were at stake.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching this, I was
the world is at stake here.
When I was watching, well, not only the world, but the actual characters.
Yeah.
I was watching this, and usually I don't feel this with a Marvel movie, where I feel even like some of the larger grand stories, I'm like, I don't really feel like this character's in danger. But these characters are in danger, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I definitely felt like he had one of the most saddest deaths in the film, though. Whenever he died protecting her, I was kind of like, and he had that little dialogue, too, at the end. I was like, no, why did he have to die? Because you really get to know his character, like not the best, but you get to know him. He throws a lot of jokes.
We get to know him enough. He feels like a very real person. He feels like part of the family. He feels like an uncle or something. Like he feels like a cool uncle. Yeah.
So it was rest in peace to him, man. That's why I say the movie definitely takes some risk with killing off certain characters.
You know what's weird? I don't think it's ever really specifically said, or I don't know if it's even implied. But Athena and Gilgamesh's chemistry and friendship felt more real than any romance in this movie. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say that. And if their relationship was anything more than friendship, which it probably wasn't, but if it was anything romantic, I would have totally believed that way more than any of these other romances in this
It just kind of feels like that's so rushed.
That was very rushed.
Very rushed in the film.
Yeah. I feel like we're talking more positively than we thought we would.
Yeah.
But there is some quite big negatives, yeah.
Now, I want to talk about two more characters really quick. Now
Yeah,
there's
let's
a
get them out of the way.
yeah, we got wait. There's a deaf chick in the film.
I forget how to say her name.
I know her name
know
is
what
so
it's-
hard. I know it's Salma. Is like I think it's Salma Hayek. I think that's how you say her
that's
name.
Ajax.
Oh yeah, wrong name.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lauren Ridolph. I think that's how you say her name in real life.
That's the actress's name.
Yeah, I think that's how you say her name.
She's great. I love
Yeah,
her.
she's so- I
They
think-
don't
I think
develop
she-
her character enough, but
No.
she's so likable.
Yeah, oh my gosh, she's the most likable one in the
And
film.
she's
I think.
cute. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's really-
she's
yeah,
the most
she's
likable
great.
one in the film. Now I think she's deaf in real life, I believe.
Yes.
Or is, yes.
I'm 99% confident that's the case. Yeah.
But I definitely believe that she is by far the most likable character you will see
Yeah,
in this
and
film.
then the guy who controls minds, I forget.
Yeah,
how
I was
to
gonna talk
say
about
it.
him next.
That
yeah.
dude's really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I always thought he was a brat at first, and then
He kind of is, but
Yeah.
he's like likable still.
Yeah.
There's a see, that's the thing. It feels like a very real reason to be a brat too. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like we've been lied to our whole time. I don't really
Yeah.
agree with all this.
and he was like, well, if I can just control these humans and stop them
Exactly,
from fighting
yes.
one another, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you kind of get him, you know,
Yeah,
like maybe he's
it's
on to something.
Very understandable. It's
Yeah.
like I get you. Like I can see why you're pissed.
Yeah, like I see you're on to something, you know.
Yeah.
So and then
I've-
really quick, talking about the main chick, really quick. We sure didn't talk about her. The one that was green, that could like she.
I
yeah.
didn't dislike her, but I can't say that I really
It was Siri in the film.
Cersei.
Cersei, God damn
I
it.
didn't dislike her, but I can't say I really liked her. I can't really say I loved or hated her. I felt very neutral on her.
Yeah, I was just like
She was okay. Like the actress did a good job with the material she was given. I never really felt very attached to her though.
Yeah,
For the main character, technically. I
Yeah,
guess,
she pretty much takes over as the main character, but it's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't feel too attached to this character. You know, she's just kind of there. I understand she takes over the team at some point because
They had time to develop this character.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Like,
I
she's the-
don't hate her. I just didn't
She's
feel
the
very
first
much.
character that gets any type of character development in the film.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's just
Somehow
you know what I'm
she
saying? Like,
somehow she makes other characters' stories better, but none of the characters really make her better, and she
Yeah.
doesn't really seem. And for being like the main protagonist, technically, like,
Yeah.
I'm never really thinking to myself,
Like-
man, like
like, if
I
they-
really feel attached to this.
if they ever did another Eternals film and she wasn't in it, I'd be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I thought
It
she
feels
was,
mean to say that.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like I thought she was all right, but it was just like, man, there was so much more I wanted from this particular character, and that you don't get to see in this film. So I mean, what it is, I don't know. We could be mean with that, but whatever. I thought she was all right, y'all.
she did her job.
Yeah,
she
she did her
didn't do
job.
anything
Now-
wrong. Nothing against her.
I know we talking about some negatives, but let's get into some positives real quick, man. I don't know about you, but when it came to this goddamn action, you seen the film. Now, this movie does have a lot of action. I know it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, but at least an hour of that is action. So I think the action was done really well. Now I will talk about the CGI in just a second. I think the CGI on the Deviants weren't that good, but that's just personally me. I don't know.
It was hit or miss for me. At times it worked, and at times I was like, you guys could have took more time to do this.
Yeah, I just think, but I really think like overall, like the action you see throughout this film is just so good. The fighting choreography, how they showcase everybody's powers, especially like what was her name? That was Death that could run really fast. I think like the way they showcase her powers were like by far the best that we've seen.
It was really cool. I feel like Shang-Chi had better action, but
That's fair. That's debatable. I think it's
this
about
had
the same.
more diverse action in this,
Yeah.
and I can't help but love a good like Man of Steel kind of feel with Icarus's
Yeah,
like,
Icarus.
laser
Yeah, that's what like
beams and stuff
Icarus
like
is
that.
literally Superman. Yeah.
I know, it was so fun to watch, like MCU do their like own little Superman, and in a way,
Well, ain't gonna
Fina
do that no
had
more.
Wonder Woman-esque vibes.
Ain't doing that no more.
Hey man, I'll take that.
You take what you can get.
I liked his death.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, let me talk about this dude real quick. Now, do you know who this deviant is?
I forget his name.
Do you know who he is?
Isn't he supposed to be like
No.
Thanos'
Do you know
dad technically or something in the
I don't-
comics?
No, I don't believe so. But you can't really see him in this
I
photo.
forget who what his
But
name is.
do you know who plays him? He's really Remember seeing it?
Oh, Skarsgård?
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård ended up playing the main deviant.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was the one that played him.
Yeah,
Now, I never understood the
Stellan Skarsgård was Baron in Dune. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
But
cool.
yeah, Bill Skarsgård plays the main deviant that we see. That he's the one that could take everybody's powers, suck him up and take the powers and
That's
stuff
cool.
like that.
Unfortunately,
But
his
it was.
character was.
I know.
not that
His character's
interesting.
kind of boring to me. I'm just like, I understand your motivations and what you're trying to do, but it's like, especially toward the end of the film pretty much like, oh, we got to
I feel like they could have communicated that better.
Yeah,
or,
the film,
done something more with
the
that.
film, I think pretty much rushes that deviant.
That's
and
the
it's
other
just kind of
thing,
like
is,
we
like-
gotta get him out of here.
That's the other thing. I wanted to clear up something that some people I've heard before I watched this film. People were like, the villains in this movie are not very interesting. I heard that it's just monster, but they
It kind of is though.
They-
I understand what they're saying.
Let me get into it a little bit. They kind of missed the point because, like I said earlier, there kind of is no villains in a way.
The Eternals are their own villains.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Icarus is,
is the villain.
the closest thing to the actual villain, if you want to say there's a villain. There's not really a villain. Everyone's just kind of out for themselves to survive or do what they think is right. To save others or, to complete their mission. It doesn't really feel like there's like a villain.
Yeah, but
so to
this
speak.
is Bill Skarsgård right here.
Because, the moral debate,
I believe.
the moral debate, the moral conundrum of this movie is the emergence. And, basically what the emergence would be is hey, if the emergence happens, the world ends, but there's a celestial that creates vast new worlds for potential life to grow. So,
Like I
the
said,
moral conundrum is hey, do we stop the life of a celestial to stop further civilizations just to save one civilization because we like the civilization? Is that right? Should we impede on that? It's that kind of conundrum,
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I really think the look of the Celestials and how they did them.
Yes.
I think they really did a really great job on that in the film. Really,
amazing scale.
yeah. Really quickly, let's go ahead and get to our ending explain and stuff like that. I mean,
Sure,
if you want to talk
yeah.
about the ending really quick,
Where do we start?
I mean, just go to the ending part.
So I can't go super deep into detail, but I'm gonna try to be as specific as possible while keeping it simple. So basically, ending third act is Icarus and Sprite decide to let the emergence happen and to keep the rest of the Eternals from stopping the emergence.
Yeah.
Kingo believes in their cause but doesn't want to fight his friends to kind of stop them, so he just kind of exits out, which I like that decision for Kingo as a character. It feels unique. It feels like, hey, I'm stepping out, but I'm not on your side with this.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting decision. Anyway, point is, the Eternals go and they try to stop the emergence.
Which is a celestial being born.
Yeah,
Which that was gonna look cool,
They
man.
had their own plan. They had the Unimind and stuff like that. And they're stopping the emergence. They get into a big third act fight, stopping Icarus and Sprite from stopping Cersei from completing the task.
Which is making another celestial be born.
Yeah, and so they end up completing their task. They stop the Celestial from being born and breaking apart the world.
Well, yeah,
And you can
pretty
really,
much it says Celestial is born, everybody on Earth dies.
And you can
Pretty
feel the scale of how big a Celestial is, because even the hands,
Yeah,
just the
that's
beginning,
what- oh
it
my
feels
gosh.
ginormous,
Yeah.
and it was shot so well.
That's why I was like, you gotta see that on IMAX just for that.
It looks incredible. So I think she turns it into stone or something.
Yeah, I think she tries to make it sleep. You know what I'm saying? Not
Something like that, yeah.
She wasn't trying to wake him up.
So basically, they succeed. Icarus is left without
Well,
purpose,
yeah.
distraught. Can't really go back to family because he kind of betrayed them, killing Ajax and all that. Getting, Gilgamesh killed and stuff like that. So he goes up and kills himself, throws himself into the sun. As far as we know, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I think he committed suicide by doing that.
Yeah, because he isn't having a purpose anymore.
Yeah. Everyone's kind of chilling out and all that. Everything's relaxed. They're getting all settled. And then I forget which characters. I think it was Thena. I forget how to say their names, but the deaf one and the one that controls people. They go off. Some of them stay back.
Yeah.
And then the big celestial, I forget his name exactly, but the big celestial
the red
comes,
one?
Yeah, he's their main lead. But yeah, he comes and he's like, hey, like, you did not fulfill what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted this celestial born. And he's like, let me take your memories, though, and let me judge, based off your memories, if humanity is worth keeping alive, like, if we're saving. So he teleports with them.
Yeah.
And you could really feel, that's another scene, you could really feel the scale of how big a celestial is. Like, if we had walked out and we see a celestial staring at us, like, oh my god, that would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? So yeah. By the end, all
They
the
all
Eternals
teleport.
are not on Earth right now.
Yeah, they all left.
Yeah. Actually, Sprite's on Earth.
Now,
but
what's-
Sprite is a human.
Yeah, so pretty much what happens to Sprite at the end of the film
Yes.
is that she ends up becoming a human now. So the whole entire time, her thing was she wanted to be able to age. So now she's gonna be able to age now. So
Yes.
and at the same time, she's gonna be able to die now. So yeah, I liked what they did with Sprite's character towards the end of the
It was
film.
a good ending for
her. Yeah, it was a great ending for her. Now, really quickly, because I know we're at 30
Post
minutes.
and after credits.
Yeah, post credit scene. You were hyped for the second one. Now, I know some
I was
people.
hyped for both of them, but I can understand why everyone wouldn't get those.
So the first one was the big one, which was I already knew what it was, but it was Harry Styles is joining the MCU now, and he is playing Eros, I believe.
I think his name is Eros.
Eros.
Yes. Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox.
AKA Star Fox.
Star
It's like
Fox.
his Star-Lord name.
Now, if you guys don't know who the heck that is, pretty much
Thanos' brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he is Thanos' brother now. Now where the heck he's been at, we don't know, but he is here to help pretty much. He's like, yo, your friends, you know, they in danger. We gotta help them out.
He's got his little Pip the Troll guy with him.
Yeah,
and,
which I didn't think the CGI on that thing was pretty good.
CGI was horrible.
Horrible.
It
Oh
did
my
look
god.
like from 2005, and I was like, man, they need to fix that for future movies.
Yeah, I'm like
I
that-
forget who voices him, but he's I think he plays MODOK in the Hulu series. He's everywhere in terms of voice acting. He plays a penguin in BoJack Horseman too, I think. Anyway,
But the
Patton Oswalt, I think.
but the CGI on that thing was terrible.
Yeah,
Jeez.
horrible.
But we get introduced to Star Fox, aka like I said, Thanos' brother.
And
Which
let me just say,
which,
Harry Styles got swagger. He's just chilling. He's
but
like,
it's
"What's
gonna
up?"
be
Yeah.
weird for people that don't know exactly who that character
Yeah.
is. So I want to know how they interpret that. But I'm excited to see Harry Styles join the MCU now. Second one is pretty much like I don't even know what the heck that was. It was like
So let me explain the second one a little bit. I don't know too much, like the Eternals. I don't know too much about the comics, so don't expect.
but I know he's
deep
some main
lore.
character now.
But
Black
it's
Knight.
setting up Black Knight.
Yeah, there you go.
And the sword is Excalibur.
Go ahead, go deeper than that.
I don't know any more.
Oh, okay,
than
that's
that.
it.
All I can tell you for sure is that he's gonna be a major prominent character moving forward in terms of Eternal stories, even Avengers stories, really.
So he's gonna be a major character now.
He's gonna be more of a major character as the.
So
movies,
we're gonna see him. We're gonna see him as Black
continue.
Knight.
Yes. And just like in Game of Thrones, Richard Madden dead before Jon Snow, which is Kit Harington. So you know, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, but we didn't really get into our official ratings on the film.
Yes.
So I would say my rating on the film, really quick. We're at 30 minutes. My rating on the film was let me be honest with y'all.
Many positives, but so many negatives.
Yeah, I'm a huge. If you know me, you guys know I've seen every Marvel film to date. Going into this, I had heard mixed reviews, but I wanted to go in and give my own thoughts of the film. Let me see this for myself. Am I gonna like it? Am I not gonna like it? And I did come out saying there's a lot of positives, but there's a lot of negatives
There's
here.
a lot of negatives.
So with saying that, I'm going to have to give the movie a 7 out of 10. That's just my rating. I think it's an alright film, y'all. I mean, look, if you're just here for the action, you're gonna get a lot of it here. But I'm here for a story and learning about the characters. You don't get enough of that here. So with saying that, I'll give it an alright. It was an alright, y'all. It was alright. 7 out of 10. You go ahead.
I feel like I'm gonna give this maybe a little bit more time to sink in, but as a first impression rating, I do feel like we could have learned more about these characters. I felt like some of the character deaths, mostly Ajax death, I felt nothing. I should feel more for Salma Hayek's character. I feel like she got screwed But anyway, point is, my objective rating, what I feel like the actual quality of the film in terms of filmmaking standards, I feel like it's a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
In terms of a subjective experience, my own enjoyment, my own Marvel biases, I feel like it's an 8 out of 10. And I think it'll improve as time goes on.
It's
the
just-
more I think about it, for certain characters.
The movie just starts out so bad,
But first act is
the first
so
act
bad.
is so bad, but it gets better as you go along.
If I give that first act a rating in itself, that's like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
just-
like it becomes better.
The first act is, but like I said, yeah, like you said, it gets better as you go
Yeah,
along.
it's
but
like
that
so
first act is so
boring and
boring.
all over the place, and it's like, come on, hurry up. And then there's some like really bad jokes here or there in the first act.
Yeah.
Romances are more focused, and I'm like, no, I'm not buying it. Yeah, like it gets better though. I assure you guys. It's like when you watch a bad pilot episode of a TV. It's like, but it gets better, I swear. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
it is that with this movie's first act.
So yeah, that's pretty much our ratings. We thought it was an alright film. I don't know if I'll be ever seeing this movie again. But hey, we're saying that y'all first time finding our channel, hit the subscribe button. Also, the video, tell me your thoughts, complaint, criticism, so on down below. And hey, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.